Let's get this bad boy started.
Welcome to the Positive Sports Podcast. I'll be your host this afternoon, Ed Montana. Alongside me today, my Labor Day celebrating brother, Alex. How you doing?
I'm ready to preview some damn football. That's how I'm doing.
As you can tell, I'm ready as well.
There's no 21 on. Landon Collins is not even with the freaking Giants anymore. Why do you have a Landon Collins jersey?
It's not a Landon Collins jersey.
That's a New York Giants with the number 21.
This is if Ed Montana played for the Giants, he would be number 21.
But he doesn't.
But if he did, he would wear number 21.
I don't think I would ever wear my own jersey with my own name, like on a professional team.
Which name
Little League, yeah, professional team.
Which name would you put on it?
No, I wouldn't put any name on it. I would put fucking Eli Manning or something like that.
No. I mean, I don't look. My name is Montana.
Wait, you're a fan of yourself?
No,
see,
but
you
no. Here's the thing. My name is Montana. Why would I wear a jersey with someone else's name on it?
Why would you wear a jersey with your own name on it?
Because I'm me.
Yeah, but that's not the intention of a jersey.
Like people that tattoo their names, they don't tattoo someone else's name.
Wait a second. Would you go to a game with that jersey?
I have.
See, I wouldn't do that. That's the guy that I throw peanuts at.
That's the guy that kicks your ass when you throw peanuts at him.
No.
Fuck you up. Hey, look.
But
I don't wear, like, my last name's Montana. Why would I wear a jersey that has the name Manning on it? Or anything
I'm
else?
a fan of the team and a player, so I'm gonna wear.
Yeah,
I'm
me
gonna
too.
wear there. But you're not. You're not a player.
Oh, yes, I am.
You're a player hater.
No. I'm far from a player hater. I'm a player.
All right, so let's get into this podcast. Our second annual Positive Sports Football Preview.
That's right. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The NFL season kicks off this Thursday night. Packers-Bears to start the season, which I think is kind of silly.
I kind of like it. We don't have to see the Super Bowl champs again. Whoever the champ was last year. We
should.
Why?
Because I think it's kind of nice that you get the champ there to start the season. You know, like...
We just saw them.
Exactly. It's kind of a nice bookend, right? You start off with the champs playing at home.
Now, if you had like the Jaguars against the Titans, then that, yeah. But I mean, the Bears and the Packers is a good way to start.
I'm not disparaging it. I agree. I think it's a good way to start the season. But I think a better way is to have the defending champion there.
So we're gonna give you guys our football MVPs, AFC champs, NFC champs, Super Bowl champs. This is just our opinions, our predictions. Don't shoot us. Don't send us dirty messages. Well, not dirty, but insulting us if we talk bad about your teams. This is just our opinions, man, and we're just gonna have a little bit of fun with it.
Now, they shouldn't say anything to you about your opinions because
they don't matter.
They're gonna be wrong. Me, on the other hand, if I'm telling them the truth about what's going to happen, I can understand why they get upset, and I may catch some heat for telling them the exact truth about their team. I'm willing to bite that bullet. If they want to do that, they can email the show at positivesports10@gmail.com, positivesports10@gmail.com. If they want to reach me directly to insult me for being right about how crappy their team is, they can do that on Twitter at eMontana21. If you want to thank Alex for not picking your team to go to the Super Bowl, you can reach him on Twitter as well, at Brooklyn Gaucho 1. With that, let's get into this juicy podcast. How you want to do this? You want to talk divisions? What do you want to do?
Yeah, man. Let's just start with the divisions.
Well, let's start in the home of the defending Super Bowl champions, the Patriots. Let's start in the AFC East.
Sure.
This one traditionally is the easiest one to analyze.
Let me guess. You're going to pick the Patriots.
Because how many years in a row have the Patriots won the division? 10?
So many, I lost count.
I mean...
They probably lost count.
Probably the only year they didn't win it was the year Brady went down, right? When he got knocked out in the first game of the season.
Right. Yeah, well...
And I think the Dolphins won that year.
Yeah, I don't know.
But, I mean, it's been it's been a long time. And look, I don't think, obviously, the Patriots are going to win the division again unless something catastrophic.
How is that so obvious to you?
Because the rest of the division is just not that good. I mean, they haven't really done much.
You don't think the Bills are going to be a little better?
No, not really. I mean,
really?
They were 6-10 last year. Yeah, they're going to be a little bit better. They'll go 7-9. I mean, I just don't see a whole lot of progression. It's weird because
you should skip this division.
It's weird because in other divisions, it seems like teams draft to specifically knock down the giant in their division, right? Like I remember years ago, the Texans were drafting to knock out, the Colts and the Titans in their division.
That didn't work out too well.
Well, they have. They they're the best team in that division, or they were last year, right? Mm-hmm. In the North, it seems like teams like the Steelers and the Ravens are always kind of drafting to compete with each other to win the division. You win the division, you make the playoffs, anything can happen from there. It doesn't seem like the characters in the AFC East are doing that. Miami still... Who's Miami's quarterback?
I think it's pretty... Okay, we'll start with the Dolphins. The Dolphins are fucking this up. I think they're tanking. There's no way you don't start Josh Rosen to start the season. Yeah. And I think he's getting the wrong end of this stick. He got hosed in Carolina. The Cardinals, I think he's getting hosed here. I think he should be the starter. The guy needs a chance to at least prove himself, and he's not getting that. And that's why I think the Dolphins are completely tanking this season.
Well, you know what's weird is, for some reason, that guy was thought to be a franchise quarterback, right? He was thought to be a first-round caliber, going to lead the franchise for the next 15 years quarterback before he got drafted. And it seems like as soon as he got drafted, all this stuff came out about he's a jerk and he's not a leader, and all of a sudden he was not the answer in Arizona. And so they traded him away, and Miami's like, yeah, he's our quarterback, and now he's not. It's like, well, what's going on? Either this guy is just pissing in people's coffee everywhere he goes, or is everyone just wrong?
I would be a little pissed off and a jerk about it too if I didn't get a chance. If I knew that the team that I was playing for was not giving me a chance to showcase my talent, because the Cardinals were already set on who they wanted next season, right? So there's no way we're going to give Josh Rosen a chance to be this good because we know who we want. But I think the Cardinals are stupid because they could have at least played him more last season, and if he would have showed that he would have been, a decent starting quarterback, then maybe the value that they would have gotten back for him would have been a little higher. Who knows? But either way, I don't think Josh Rosen is I think eventually he'll start for the Dolphins, but I think he should be the week 1 starter. So
yeah,
I don't
know I'm with you. I don't know what the Dolphins are doing.
Other than that, the Dolphins are one of the 2 teams that I think will be at the bottom in that division. I think the Jets are not going to be much better than they were last season, and I don't trust the Jets much.
That's what keeps happening in that division. So last year the Dolphins were 7-9, the Bills 6-10, the Jets 4-12. And the Jets will get a little bit better, and the Dolphins will get a little bit worse, and the Bills will get a little. But they stay in that 4 to 7 win range, right, or 4 to 8 wins. But no one seems to kind of break out of that path. What do you think about Le'Veon Bell with the Jets? Do you think it's going to be, a marriage made in heaven, or is the honeymoon going to be over by week 6?
I think it's going to be this first year is going to be mediocre. I don't think it's going to go that great. I have a theory about... And here goes Alex. Second-year quarterbacks don't tend to do well. They just don't.
Right.
And actually, it's not even a theory. It's really, if you look at the past, they just don't. For some reason, they don't. I don't know what it is. Okay, but so Darnold, I can see really taking. He wasn't that great last year. And Bell not playing in the preseason, not getting adjusted to the offensive line, to taking a couple snaps and seeing, kind of get a picture of what to expect, and vice versa, what the offensive line, what to expect from Bell as they're blocking for him. I think that was a misjudgment by the coaching staff to not have him play, not urge him to play. You know what I mean?
The only entertaining part about the Jets is going to be the post-game press conferences to watch old googly eyes.
Oh, Adam Gaze? Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I don't see much for the Jets either. I just don't know what these teams are doing. I don't understand how you can face the model organization, not just of your division, but really of the league for the last twice a year, every year, and you see them for the last 10, 15 years, however long it's been, and none of them get a clue? None of them?
No.
Really? You would think at least one would get a clue. I feel like we can move on to the AFC North after this, but the AFC North is a good example. I feel like the Ravens and the Steelers feed off of each other. They see what the other one's doing, and they keep raising the bar, right? Which is why neither one of them's been completely dominant, as opposed to the AFC East, where New England has set the bar, and the other fools are just not catching on.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway.
So I'll give a bold. I like bold predictions. I'll give a bold prediction for the AFC East. I think the Bills will come in second in that division, and they make the playoffs. I'm big on second-year quarterbacks having a letdown season. I think Josh Allen is the real deal.
Isn't he a second-year quarterback?
He is.
You just contradicted yourself.
I know, but I think he's the real deal.
He's the exception to your rule.
Yes, for this season.
Okay, that is a bold prediction. I
Yes.
predict that the AFC East will be a snooze fest by about Halloween.
All right.
By the time Halloween rolls around,
It'll be over.
we can turn that one off and move on down the road. Going to the AFC North, this one's going to be really interesting. I think this is the division that everyone's going to look at, and it's going to be the one that people talk about. Obviously, the preseason activity by the Browns has made them the center point of the division.
No.
I mean, people have talked about the Browns nonstop.
Super Bowl Browns.
Whatever.
They have them going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, whatever, right? But the Browns have been the talk of preseason.
Yeah.
Or of the offseason, I should say. With the trade for Beckham and just Baker Mayfield being Baker Mayfield and just on and on and on. It's going to be really interesting. I don't even know where to begin. I guess we should start with the Browns. What do you expect?
I expect much of the same. I don't expect playoffs. There's a lot of with that team, you're gonna have to watch for the locker room. It's going to take a toll on some of these players. The way Baker Mayfield is, Odell. I think they have too many different attitudes, personalities, and you got a first-year coach that's now has to try to bring this all together. You only have 16 games. You don't have a baseball season to do it. So I don't expect much. They were 7-8-1.
Yeah.
8-8. 8-8 is
it's an improvement.
It's an improvement, but that's about it. I don't expect much from them, to be honest with you. I really don't.
I expect a little bit more than that. I expect them to be in the playoff picture. I don't know that they're going to make the playoffs, but part of my problem with them, or part of the reason why I expect an improvement from them, I can't see the Ravens and the Steelers being as good as they were last year. I expect a little bit of a step back from them. The Ravens have Lamar Jackson, who's now in his second year, right, taking the reins. I worry about him as a running quarterback getting hurt. That's my big concern there. And then the Steelers, the Steelers lost Antonio Brown. They didn't have Le'Veon Bell last year, but their running game, Connor was good, but they still struggled a little bit to run the football. Defensively, that defense is getting a little bit older. I just wonder, they were 9-6-1 last year. Can they take that next step, go 10-6, 11-5? I don't know. I don't think so. I almost see them going backwards to 8-8. So, with the Ravens and the Steelers kind of not running away with things, I can see the Browns being a part of the conversation to win the division. And look, the Bengals are not good, so there's a couple of freebies there for all the teams. I think this is going to be super competitive, and because of the Browns being the media darling through the offseason, I think that we're going to talk about them nonstop. This will be the most watched division in football this year.
Yeah, I mean the amount of hype around the Browns is really ridiculous. If you look back 2 years ago when the Jaguars, everybody was like, "Oh man, the Jaguars, the Jaguars were gonna suck. They were the worst team." What happened? They made the AFC Championship game. Then the following year, last year, oh man, the Jaguars, they're gonna be back in it. They're gonna be so good.
Their defense is so good.
They bombed. So all the hype around the Browns is really fascinating to me, and I think they're gonna fall short. The Ravens and the Steelers are better teams, better managed. I think they have the better players, and I think the Ravens are gonna win that division again. They really bulked up their running game with Mark Ingram. I think that was a huge pickup for them. They're going to run the rock a lot, which I think is going to allow Lamar Jackson to not have to throw as much, not have to run as much. So he will be healthy, like you mentioned. I think
that's a big concern for the Ravens. They got to keep that guy upright. But that's my big fear with the Ravens.
But I think they addressed that by saying, okay, we're gonna run the ball so much this year. They went and got Mark Ingram. They have other running backs that can run the ball, and I think that allows Harbaugh to take pressure off and draw up some different plays that doesn't allow Lamar Jackson to have to scramble. Of course, they have to block for him, but I expect the Ravens to win that division again, and Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh will make the playoffs. They have a good enough team, I believe, and the AFC doesn't have a lot of good teams, in my opinion, and I think that'll allow them to sneak in as a wild card.
Interesting. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Ravens to win the division as well, but I don't think there's a second playoff team coming out of that division. I think the second playoff teams will come out of the other two divisions that we haven't mentioned yet. But let's go ahead and move on. Let's go to the AFC South.
Dirty South.
Huh?
The Dirty South.
Why's it got to be dirty?
I don't know. Don't ask me. I didn't come up with that.
Okay. The AFC South. The Texans won last year with a record of 11-5. The Colts were in second at 10-6. They made the wild card. The Titans at 9-7 and the Jaguars at 5-11. If Andrew Luck had retired earlier, if Andrew Luck had retired a month earlier, and the Texans had made all those trades a month earlier, this might be the division we're talking about more so than the AFC North, because there's been some huge movement here at the very end of the preseason, which you don't normally see, with Andrew Luck retiring for the Colts and the injuries to the Texans and the subsequent trades for the Texans. Man, I'm confused. And look.
That makes two of us.
And look, Tennessee's not bad, but they could go south real fast. And Jacksonville now has a quarterback with some serious pedigree to him. I mean, he's a guy who knows how to win. He's a good quarterback. I don't think he's the world's greatest quarterback, but he's better than what they had before, right?
He's a Super Bowl champion.
Right. Look,
he beat Tom Brady.
He led his team to a Super Bowl. And not only that, if Leonard Fournette is healthy, then you've got a considerable weapon in the running game as well, all backed by a very good defense. So Jacksonville, they were 5-11 last year. The wheels totally came off. It could be a completely different story this year for that team. What do you make of this division right now?
You got a coin? I can flip a coin and we can
four-sided coin?
Yeah, four-sided coin. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'll start off with the Texans because, I mean, look, we live in Houston. We watch a lot of Texans football. I like to follow them. I think I was gonna say I think they have a good team. I don't think they have a very good team right now. I think they really messed this up by trading Clowney. Can't knock them on Lamar Miller. Unfortunately, he got hurt. You trade Clowney, you get back no offensive lineman until you make a trade with the Dolphins for Tunzel, but you don't know how that guy's gonna turn out. He might be smoking a joint right now and be due for a freaking drug test, and and he'll fail that and get suspended.
If he stays on the field, I think that's a good deal for the Texans.
Yeah, but I mean, you just don't know, man. I mean, you gotta protect Watson. And I think the Texans failed to do that, to address that issue, and now they're just playing a running back by committee type of deal.
Well, they got the guy. Who's that guy? Duke Johnson.
Yeah, but
pretty good.
Whatever. It's Duke Johnson.
I mean, he's not Todd Gurley, but he's serviceable.
Right, but when you have a chance to go out there and get maybe a Melvin Gordon, a Shady McCoy,
which could still happen because
it could.
Melvin Gordon and the Chargers are not getting along.
Not at all. They're not on the same page. And I think it starts at the top, man. They got no GM right now. Bill O'Brien is on is making the calls, I guess. I don't know. One minute he says he wants to keep Clowney, then he trades him. I don't know what's going on. I think they're really messing this up. They have, hands down, I think the best wide receiver in the game. A really good quarterback. I'm pretty disappointed in the moves that they've made. I don't know who's going to win this division. I really don't.
It is a little bit worrisome with the Texans. The Clowney situation, they didn't. Clowney's a frontline guy, and by frontline I mean one of the top players on his team. You should have gotten something back for that. They got very little, and they're still on the hook for half of his signing bonus or whatever.
So here, a quick little. Clowney and Mack were drafted in the same class.
Mm-hmm.
Clowney was drafted first.
Mm-hmm.
Mack was drafted 4th or 5th.
Mm-hmm.
My memory's not too good. It's 4th or 5th in the first round. It's amazing what the Raiders got back for Mack.
Yeah.
And it's amazing what the Texans got back for Clowney.
Right.
For a number 1 pick.
Well, I mean, to be fair, when the Raiders made the deal for Mack, when they traded away Mack, there was still all this potential and hope for Mack and how good he was going to be. I don't think there's that same love affair with Clowney for some reason.
But
not sure why.
But he's a number. I mean, this is a number 1 pick.
Yeah, no. I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying I think that's part of the reason why there was less value. And the other thing too is I think the Texans got hosed when Lamar Miller went down. Everyone kind of said, okay, well, now we can pull back on the Clowney. We don't have to give them as much because they're going to be a little bit desperate to make that move. And I think a lot of the offers dried up a little bit or got watered down, let's say, when Lamar Miller went down. And here's the other thing. Injuries have killed this team over the last couple of years. They'd be better. They would have had better seasons had they not had the injuries they've had. Deshaun Watson absolutely has to stay upright all year. J.J. Watt has to stay upright all year. DeAndre Hopkins has to stay upright. They had a great receiving core to start the season with DeAndre Hopkins and Fuller, right? And then Fuller got hurt, and you could see the team start to struggle in the passing game a little bit. They have to stay healthy. It is imperative for them. I think, talent-wise, I think they're the best team in the division, especially now that Luck is gone. I think they're the most
bold prediction?
I don't think that's bold. I think that's pretty standard. I think everyone's saying it. I think talent-wise, they're the most talented. But between injuries and I don't trust Bill O'Brien, man, I don't know that they're going to win that division.
No, they're not winning that division.
Well, who's going to win it?
The Colts.
You think so?
Yeah, look, absolutely. When you talk about talent, the Colts' offensive line is as talented. I think they're right there. They might be a season away from being as good as the Cowboys' offensive line. That's how good I think they are.
Agree.
I think Brissett could very well, do good enough to get them to the playoffs. I'm not saying they're gonna go far and go to the AFC Championship, Super Bowl, Just get him into the playoffs. Definitely win the division. I think the Colts will win the division. They just signed Brian Hoyer from the Patriots, so that's a good backup, some insurance. And the Colts defense has really come around the past couple of years. We saw what the Colts did to disrupt Watson last year in the playoffs and in the wild card. And those are the issues that I think we'll see from the Texans, and those are some of the strengths that we'll see from the Colts this season. So I think the Colts are the team to beat in that division.
I agree with you for the most part. My only concern is Brissett. Look, Andrew Luck wasn't just a starting quarterback. He was a top-notch quarterback. And he took him to 10-6 last year, coming off of missing an entire season with the shoulder problem. I expect he was only going to get better this year. Mm-hmm. I think last year we only got 90% of Andrew Luck. And Jacoby Brissett, I don't think is terrible, but he's not Andrew Luck. And I think they do take a little bit of a step back in the quarterback department. Now, having a great offensive line helps, but you still have the guy at the controls who's not as good as the previous guy you had at the controls. And let's face it, this is a quarterback league.
But he doesn't have to be as good as Andrew Luck. He doesn't have to throw for 40 touchdowns and 4,000. He doesn't have to do that. If he can minimize his turnovers, interceptions,
that's key.
That could he could throw 20 touchdowns and
that is
3,500 yards.
That is certainly the key for the Colts. He needs to keep turnovers to a minimum and let the offensive line run block for him. Let their running game do it. Let their defense do their job. Let everyone do their job, and he has to be a little bit more of a caretaker. Again, I don't know if that equates to winning a division or not, but
so who do you have winning the division?
I'm at a toss-up. I'm at a three-way toss-up because I think the Jaguars are going to be a lot better than they were last year. Obviously, it's kind of hard to fall from 5-11, but Nick Foles is a significant improvement over Blake Bortles at quarterback. If Leonard Fournette is healthy, man, that's a formidable offense, and their defense was pretty darn good. The wheels fell off last year. But remember, 2 years ago, that defense took him to the AFC Championship game. So I need a three-way coin between the Texans, the Colts, and the Jaguars to really figure it out. Because it's a tough call between those three in my book.
Imagine Nick Foles is the quarterback that the Jaguars have been waiting for their whole life.
Well, look,
that'd be great.
They've been waiting for a quarterback for a while, so it's not surprising that they'll be pleased as punch with Nick Foles. Yeah. I mean, because it's a vast improvement.
Yeah, the Titans are going to be the last in that division. I think the Jaguars make a significant improvement, and I'm not saying they'll go from 5-11 to 11-5, but if they go 8-8, I think that's good enough to finish second in that division. Houston's gonna feel it a little bit. I think they're gonna have a drop off, and I see them finishing about third in that division.
I think the Jaguars will be better than 8-8.
Yeah, really.
Especially if Fournette stays healthy. Yeah. I think they'll be fighting for the top of that division.
He looks like he's in shape,
which is a plus. That's going to be the best, and I think we'll get a wild card out of this division because those three teams I think will drift towards the top, and Tennessee I think is. I feel like Tennessee is at that point where they're just about to fall apart.
Yeah,
I think it's not good there.
I think once they signed Tannehill, they're gonna have a it could be a quarterback carousel. You know, they're gonna. And
I think they're talking about playing both of them
at the same time. That'd be great.
Well, I don't think quite at the same time, but like
two-system quarterback.
But yeah, a two-system quarterback, which throughout history, how many teams have we've seen Super Bowl champions with two-system quarterbacks just over and over again. Yeah. You see it all the time.
Right, it works so much.
It works constantly. I mean, even in college, it works. No.
You got a bold prediction for this division? You don't like bold predictions. I'll give a bold prediction. Jacoby Brissett is going to lead the Colts to the playoffs. That's it. That's all I got. I didn't give one for the North. What was the North again? Who's in the North? I forget. I'm bad with this.
Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and
Oh,
your bowl. Hey, how about why don't you do the same bowl prediction from last year?
what was it? Oh,
the Bengals are going to win like
I
14
can't.
games.
I can't repeat.
Didn't you say the Bengals were going to go 16-0 last year? Or something
No,
like that?
no. But I did say they were
They
going
were
to
going to win the Super Bowl.
I did say they were going to make the
19-0.
playoffs.
They were going to win it all.
I did say they were going to make the playoffs. The Browns finished 7-8-1. I think they go 6-10 this year.
Oh, a step back.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Anyway, moving on. The AFC West.
I like this division. I'm really excited about this division.
I think this is going to be fun to watch
I
as
think
well.
I think so.
I've said that like 3 times now.
You have so you're really into this football
I'm ready
season.
for football season, I guess. You know, we got a ton of college football over the weekend, and so I think I'm in football mode now all of a sudden. So last year,
I love football.
Kansas City won the AFC West with a record of 12-4. The Chargers had the same record, 12-4, but Kansas City won the tiebreaker. The Broncos 6-10, the Raiders 4-12. I don't, now that I look at it,
we can take away the Raiders.
we can take away the Broncos too.
No sir.
I think this is
the Broncos will be an all right team this year. And when I say all right, I mean
8-8 tops.
You know what? That may be enough to sneak in there.
No, that's not
absolutely
8-8's not going to get you in the playoffs.
Broncos fans, listen. Bro, you don't give none of these teams a chance. That's boring. Nobody wants to hear you say, "Oh, the Patriots are going to win it all." Nobody wants to hear that shit.
Do they want to hear the truth or not?
Shit.
You gotta tell them the truth.
Nah, look, the Broncos made I think getting that defensive coordinator from the Bears, Vic, which I think is a cool name, by the way, Vic Fangio. That is a fucking cool ass name.
Fangio.
It really is. It's almost saying like Fangio.
Like, thank you?
Nah, I think getting him is really good because I think the Broncos already had a pretty decent defense. So now they get a real defensive-minded coach. Flacco at quarterback doesn't have to be Super Bowl Flacco. He can just be average. He's got a decent run game with Lindsey and I forget the other guy, but I think the Broncos would be better than what people think and giving them a chance. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs, or maybe I am, but I'm not saying they're going to go deep into the playoffs. But I like what the Broncos have done this offseason, and I think picking up a head coach like that is huge.
I think the Broncos, I just don't. It's just not too. They're not too exciting to me. They picked up a defensive mind for a team that was already very good defensively, so that's great, I guess. But their problems weren't defensively. Their problems are offensively, and you said it. Joe Flacco's all he has to do is be average, and that's exactly what he is. He's an average quarterback, and I think this is an average football team. Their defense is pretty good, yes.
So they'll finish 8-8.
Yeah, 8-8 is the best I see for them, and I don't think that gets you in the playoffs. Not in the AFC, actually probably not in the NFC either.
But look, if we just went through 3 of the divisions and none of them really, no division stands out. 8-8 could very well get a team into the playoffs because we just went through the South and we said that's a toss-up.
8-8 will get you third place in this division, which means you have to be better than all of the other second place teams. Okay, no 8-8 coming out of the AFC East. I agree with you. They'll be an 8-8 or better in second place in the North. They'll be an 8-8 or better in the South. So no, I don't think the Broncos make the playoffs. I think this division is Kansas City's. Kansas City's going to own this division. They'll go 12-4, if not better. The Chargers, I think, will take a bit of a step back, especially with this Melvin Gordon situation. But they're still a very good football team, I think, and they will not regress to the point where they'll end up behind the Broncos. The Broncos to me are an average football team at 8-8. The Raiders, they'll do better than 4-12, but not much. The distractions of Antonio Brown, and I don't even know if the guy's going to be on the field because he doesn't have a helmet. I mean, it's just, I'm not quite sure. I think the John Gruden project is still a year or two away. So I think eventually it's going to work in Oakland because I trust Gruden, but
In Oakland or Las Vegas?
well,
It might not ever work in Oakland.
it'll be in Las Vegas, right? Because I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon. But Kansas City is, to me, head and shoulders the best team in this division, and I think that the Chargers are a very clear second to me. This division kind of, I know I said it was exciting in the beginning, but obviously that's just I'm just coming down off the high of college football. Once I really look at it, I think everyone's slotted in, and we're going to get similar results to what we got last year. I just don't see much for those other teams, enough of an improvement to really take over that spot from the Chargers, and certainly not from the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are only going to get better.
Yeah, the Chiefs will win that division. I think hands down they got the best team in that division, maybe all of the AFC.
Yeah.
And the Chargers, look, they had a great year last year. Phillip Rivers' career could be winding down. This could be his last or second to last season. Not having Melvin Gordon obviously helps. They finished 12-4. You know, his replacements or backup running backs that they have. They're not Melvin Gordon, but they are sustainable. There's no way. I don't see them winning 12 games again. So I really see them taking a step back, and then this could very well be one of the teams that doesn't make the playoffs this season, that made the playoffs last year. So
see that.
it's I think it's going to be a little tough for the and their season has kind of started off the same way as it did last year with a bunch of injuries during preseason and training camp. So that eventually may catch up. It didn't catch up last year. This season it might.
All right, let's move on to the NFC. The NFC East.
Or do you want to give an AFC champ now, or do we
Playoffs
wait?
Playoffs
at the end?
We'll do playoffs at the end.
Okay.
The NFC East. So you got Dallas winning the division last year at 10-6, the Eagles 9-7, the Redskins 7-9, and the Giants 5-11. This division is a headache.
You think so?
Oh, it's so hard to figure out.
I don't think it's that hard.
I
The Eagles are head and shoulders above. No, hold on. The Eagles are the best team in that division.
I agree, but the Eagles find a way to shoot themselves in the foot because they were the best team in the division last year, and somehow the Cowboys made it through and actually won the division.
True.
I don't know what to expect from the Redskins, and I'm not even quite sure what to expect from the Giants.
Yeah, those two would be 3 and 4, right?
I would think so. I think the Eagles are the best team in the division. I said that last year. I'm going to say it again this year. I think I'm right both times. I think this year they will win the division.
You were wrong last year.
I was wrong last year. I will not be wrong this year. They will win the division this year. The Cowboys, to me, are the interesting team because they could come out of nowhere. Not out of nowhere, but they could come up and win the division from the Eagles. And they've got the whole Elliott saga going on. But if Elliott doesn't show up until week 6, might not be a bad thing. A fresh legs Elliott for the last 10 games of the season might be a good thing. I don't know. But if I try to pick a winner here, I've already picked the Eagles. But man, I could see the Cowboys coming in and taking it from them again this year. And again, I don't hold out much hope for the Redskins or the Giants. But you just gotta wonder.
Yeah, I don't know who's gonna win this division. To be honest with you, I mean, I believe the Eagles are the better team. What I will say is that out of this division, we're gonna have 2 quarterbacks go head to head for the MVP. I really think Prescott and Wentz are going to have such a good season, and I think they're such good quarterbacks that they're going to be fighting for that NFC or for the MVP of the league. I think that's how good they are. Prescott has a huge leverage with the offensive line that he has, and his first 3 seasons he's had have been amazing in the NFL.
Yeah.
He had no sophomore slump. And I think Wentz is out to prove that, number one, he's healthy, and number two, that he deserves to be MVP. 2 seasons ago, his season was cut short in Week 13 against the Rams. You got a backup quarterback come in, makes the Super Bowl, goes on to win it. You got to feel a certain way about that. Then, the following season, he's having a good season again, but kind of gets, derailed by injuries. I think he's out to prove something. I think both of these teams are going to go head to head in the division, and it's going to be because of those 2 quarterbacks that are going to have amazing seasons.
Yeah, I agree with you. And again, I think when you look position by position, the entire team, I think the Eagles are better.
Mm-hmm.
But with these 2 quarterbacks going head to head, I could see either one of them winning the division.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
So you're picking the Eagles?
I'm still picking the Eagles, though.
I'm picking the Eagles because the Cowboys sometimes find a way to just
piss games away.
Lose games. I don't know. This is a tough division.
It's
not even all 4 teams that is making it tough.
It's just tough with those 2. Now the other 2 teams do have interesting situations in that they have quarterback situations slightly different, right? In Washington, Haskins is going to get the ball. He's the man.
You think he's ready?
That's my question to you. Is he?
I asked you first.
is he ready to take over the reins of an NFL team? Is he going to be a good quarterback? Because if he is, man, they could sneak into this conversation about winning the division.
You know what? I don't think he's ready this season. He may be ready next year. But you can put fucking Joe Montana there. That team is so dysfunctional, from ownership to coaching. They don't know what the hell they're doing. I mean, Gruden is not a good coach. He's just not a good coach. Snyder's not a good owner. He's not managing. I just don't think this is well put together. They don't have an offensive line, so I really hope they don't put Haskins to play, because Trent Williams is still holding out.
They could get Haskins killed.
Yeah. So I don't think he's ready this season. I don't think the team is ready to compete for the division, to compete for Haskins. The team's not ready.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And as far as the Giants,
and with the Giants, we've got a different type of quarterback situation. Eli Manning is still there. He's the quarterback. He's going to be the game 1 starter, but obviously not the future. The future is Jones. Will Eli make it through the season? If he's not injured, right? If he gets injured, then obviously he doesn't make it through the season. But barring injury, does he make it through the season? Or at some point, do the Giants wave the white flag and hand the reins over to Jones?
Well, I mean, I can see two different scenarios happening.
Yes or no?
Up or down? He goes about 4-5, 3-5. And I believe we'll see Daniel Jones between weeks 8 and 10. That's when I believe we'll see him. I think Eli will play okay, but this is very similar to Kurt Warner and Eli Manning when Eli Manning took over for Kurt Warner. So I can see that same scenario happening. Eli took over a little earlier, but I think it's only a matter of time before we see Daniel Jones at quarterback. Now, here's another scenario that could happen, okay? And the Colts could come calling. If Brissett doesn't do the job and Hoyer goes down, or if Brissett goes down and Hoyer's not doing too good, I mean, they could come calling and say, hey, we want Manning.
Yeah, I don't think...
Life comes full circle, man.
I don't think the Giants would trade Manning.
Oh, that would be the perfect situation for Manning because he goes to a team that is competing in a weak division. He goes to a team that has weapons. He goes to a team that has an offensive line. He goes to a team that has a quarterback, a quarterback coach. I mean, that would be out of the conference. I think that's the ideal situation for both.
I'm not saying it's a bad deal. I just don't think the Giants would do it. I don't. The Giants love Eli, and I just don't think they're going to trade him or cut him or.
Well, if it's one thing,
they're not going to do anything. They're going to let Eli go on his own terms.
Well, if one thing,
just my thought.
One thing is for certain is that we can't believe everything that Gettleman says. Right? He said we didn't re-sign Odell to trade him. 2 weeks later or whatever, they freaking trade him. So I wouldn't really put it past. I think with the Giants, I believe ownership has come to realization that it's time to move on. Now, it may be that they just let him finish the season as the starter and then, they don't sign him. They don't rework his contract. So you seem bored by this talk, so we can move on.
Well, no, I don't think the Giants are going to move Eli under any circumstances. And I think Eli's going to make it through the season. I think the Giants will be better than they were last year. Not much, but they'll be better, and it'll be enough to kind of hold off on the Jones. Plus, from what we've seen of Jones, he doesn't look ready to take over the reins, and I don't think the Giants are inclined to let him get his brains beat in for a year. I think they're going to coddle him a little bit. They're going to baby him a little bit, and they're going to say, why don't you go ahead and just learn from the sidelines? And quite frankly, I think that's the ideal situation. If he's going to be a top-notch NFL quarterback, I think 1 year learning behind Eli Manning is good for him. So yeah. I maybe that's wishful thinking on my part, but I feel like that's going to be the way it's going to shake out this year, and I think, quite frankly, that's the best way for it to work out for the Giants in the long term with Mr. Jones. Moving on to the NFC North. Last year won by the Chicago Bears at 12-4. Minnesota came in second, 8-7-1. The Packers 6-9-1, and the Lions dead last at 6-10. Obviously, the Lions win the NFC North this year, right?
Obviously, from bottom to top.
It's a no-brainer that they win the. There's another team that doesn't seem to get a hang of what's going on. The other three teams have their moments, right? They seem to be competing with each other and moving up, and sometimes they take a step back or injuries or whatever. The Lions don't ever seem to make it out of the cellar.
No.
And I think they're going to stay there again this year.
Yeah, very well could. I don't think the Bears go 12-4 again or better than that. I can see them taking a step back. Everybody's on the Mitchell Trubisky train. Everyone's calling for him to be MVP. Like his odds for MVP is insane. I wouldn't think of him. I think he's going to be a good quarterback at the end when it's all said and done. Mm-hmm. I think he's a good quarterback right now. I just don't know if he's MVP caliber.
Yeah, I don't think he's MVP caliber either.
Is he the MVP in that division? Right? If you look at the other quarterbacks?
Well, of course he's not the MVP in that division. That division has Aaron Rodgers, who's the greatest quarterback to have ever played football.
That's right. So, he's not even the best quarterback in that division. He could be this year, but I just don't. I don't know what all the hype is on him. The Bears still have a good defense, though.
Their defense is going to take them a long way. They're not going to get their doors blown off, and so long as Trubisky doesn't make a mess of a game, they're going to be A-okay in every single game. The Vikings, I expect a little bit of a bounce back from them. Their defensive prowess is still pretty darn good. I don't expect much from the Packers. I expect them to be better. I think all this talk about Aaron Rodgers is ready to show everyone that he's the greatest quarterback ever, and ESPN is on the Aaron Rodgers train. Well, they've been on the Aaron Rodgers train forever. And this year, it's, when he's great, well, he's great and he's going to keep being great. When he's bad, well, he's going to bounce back from being bad to being great. Like, he's just going to be great. That's the prediction every year. And I don't see it. That team has not made very many adjustments. And quite frankly, I think a quarterback like him, quote unquote, running the show, we saw how that went last year. And it didn't go well.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to go well this year with LaFleur or whatever his name is. LaFleur.
I think that's the most interesting part right there for the Packers is how is that going to mesh?
I think they make a better soap opera than they do football team this year.
I mean, what were they? 6-9-1? I don't see much from the Packers. And it's a shame because I really think Aaron Rodgers is great. I think he's really that good. He really is.
He's a great quarterback. I don't even know that I put him in a great category. He's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league.
Healthy? Yeah.
When healthy.
Yeah. Healthy is.
But he's got to stay healthy. That's another thing, too. He's not a young guy.
Yeah?
You got to stay healthy. I don't, man, they may make it to 8-8, but I don't even think they're going to go 8-8.
I like the Vikings in this division. I really like the Vikings. Kirk Cousins had like the most quietest 4,300 yards, 40 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he threw 40 touchdowns. He threw like 30 something. But he had like the quietest, best number seasons I've ever did not hear of.
Yeah.
And he's got weapons around him. He's got a good duo at wide receivers with Diggs and Thielen. Pretty decent running game. I think their offensive line is going to. Yeah, I think their offensive line will be the the big question mark for him, and the defense. But I can see them winning that division.
And the other thing to remember is defensively they're pretty good. They were decimated by injuries last year. The injury bug hit them pretty hard last year. So I expect them to be better than 8-7-1, which is another reason why I don't think the Packers are going to break through. I don't think the Bears will go 12-4 again, but they're not going to drop down to 8-8. They're going to be in the mix. It's going to be a 2-horse race between the Bears and the Vikings. I'm giving a slight edge to the Vikings, but I could see either one of those teams winning, and I don't see and the other one's going to make the wild card, in my opinion. So, and I don't see any room really for the Packers to break through there, considering their situation, and obviously the Lions aren't going to break through because the Lions are
the Lions. That's what happens. See,
it's gonna suck to be a fan of the Lions.
The Lions are fucking cursed. Okay, you don't give Barry Sanders his money, you don't give Megatron his money, but you give fucking Matthew Stafford a lifetime contract to be quarterback and be average and never lead you to a freaking playoff win. Very well done, Detroit Lions. Very well done.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. I mean, you think about it, they had one of the greatest running backs ever. They had one of the best receivers ever. And both of those guys walked away in the prime of their career, said, you know what, nah.
Walked away.
That tells you how much an organization saps the fun out of football.
And then you go get this knucklehead that puts a pencil behind his ear for every game that he coaches.
He's going to get lead poisoning.
Yeah, seriously. He better hope that's a number 2 pencil. Number 2 pencils hold up better.
All right, let's move on. The NFC South won last year by the New Orleans Saints at 13-3. The Atlanta Falcons and Carolina Panthers at 7-9, and then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 5-11. The New Orleans Saints were one of 3 teams to put up 500 points last year, and quite frankly, I think they're going to do it again. To me, the Saints are just about must-watch TV. I mean, watching that offense play is it's amazing. And I keep thinking maybe this is the year that Drew Brees runs out of gas, but he hasn't, and he continues to play at an extremely high level. I love the Saints. I think they will run away with this division again.
Run away?
They won it by 6 games last year.
Yeah,
It'll be a little bit closer.
I think
than
it'll
that,
even out a little more.
but it won't be a 1 or 2 game cushion.
Yeah.
They'll win it. I think they can go 13-3 again, which means you got to get 10-6 just to be within 3 games. If you're the Falcons, Panthers, or
Would you say
Buccaneers?
Would you say that the NFC's got some teams this year, so 12 of their games are going to come against the NFC. That's going to be, that's going to be tough. The NFC's a lot better this year than last season, and that division could really go either way. Who do you
think's going to beat the Saints in that division?
No, I think the Falcons could have a good season. The Falcons are just a couple seasons away from a Super Bowl. The Panthers are not that bad. I think it all hinges on Cam Newton, obviously. Tampa Bay's improved, but they are not. They're not going to be competing for the division. And let's remember that the NFC South has a knack for not having repeat champs.
That's true.
And I will say this about the Saints: they probably have the most open playbook of all time because Sean Payton. It seems like they just make up plays during games, and the teams don't know how to prepare for it. They really have They run a really good offensive system. But the interesting thing with the Saints is going to be, do they have the hangover of that blown call?
Oh my God! I thought we were never going to talk about that.
It's gonna be on their minds. It's gonna be on their minds. It's gonna be on their mind. They're gonna be looking for every call, every game, and it's gonna fucking distract them from the actual game. Watch. They're gonna criticize the referees more than ever.
I think they've already forgotten about that call.
You think so?
Yeah, look, it's over. It's done with. A younger team, a less mature team than that, maybe. But these guys are. You've got true veteran leadership. I don't think they're going to worry much about that. You were talking about their schedule. They play the Texans, Rams, Seahawks, Cowboys, Buccaneers, Jaguars. So they're playing the AFC South, right? That means Texans, Indianapolis.
That's 3 wins out of there.
Titans and Jaguars, right? They play the Texans at home, which they've always played them well at home. And they play the Colts at home. So they have to go to Tennessee and to Jacksonville, which I think are the 2 weaker teams of the 4. And the 2 tough teams come to them. So the schedule kind of works out nicely in that cross-conference thing.
Right.
And then outside of their division, the Rams and the Seahawks and the Cowboys, that's tough. That's tough. The Bears... The
tough.
Cardinals.
Not tough.
The
division.
And the Niners.
That's not... No.
Yeah, they play all of the AFC West. And NFC West.
And the division.
Well,
which is always tough.
I didn't mention the division.
Which is always tough.
Well, yeah, kind of. They went 4-2 in their division last year. They're probably going to go 4-2 again this year in their division. Their division. The thing with them is they are incredibly tough at home.
Yeah.
So it's struggle city for Atlanta, Carolina, and Tampa to go to New Orleans.
Well, they had a playoff home game last year and they lost it. Right? Then that was at home. Mm-hmm. That was at home, and they lost it.
Yeah.
So.
But that was also against the Rams. So.
But they were winning it.
Yeah. But
Drew Brees threw an interception late in the game.
But it was against a team that, and we'll talk about them here in a second. They went to the Super Bowl last year. Yeah. They're and by the way, they weren't like just some upstart that went to the Super Bowl. They were 13-3 as well last year. So it's a tough road to hoe. Again, going into that dome in New Orleans, they play. It seems like their offense is more explosive at home. It's a track meet in there.
If Cam Newton was healthy, if I knew he was going to be healthy for all 16 games, I would say the Panthers win that division. But I'm gonna say the Falcons. The Falcons are returned to be what we thought they were gonna be last season, and again, they're 2 years removed from making the Super Bowl. They have a great wide receiver. They got a decent run game. They have an overpaid but an okay quarterback, in my opinion. They also had a lot of injuries last year to the linebackers, their defense overall. So I see them coming back this year and
I expect both of those
better.
teams. I expect both of those teams to be better than they were last year.
Who's that?
The Falcons and the Panthers.
And the Panthers.
Yeah. I just think the Saints are that good. That division is going to have three really good teams. I wouldn't be surprised if both wild cards came out of this division.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, you got to win your division because the wild card is going to be tough everywhere. When we recap the conference, I mean, there's a lot of teams I think that could make the playoffs in the NFC, which I don't think we see quite the same thing in the AFC. But
I will say this, even though I believe the Falcons will win the division and be better, but if they happen to, what were they, 7-9 last year? Mm-hmm. If they're treading around that, I can see their head coach being on the hot seat early. Like if they start off like 0-3, 1-4, 1-5, I can see
it's
Mr. Home Depot saying, "Hey, you're gone."
I'd be a little surprised because they are just a couple years removed from the Super Bowl, but I feel like the feeling in Atlanta is this is a make or break year.
Yeah.
So which is it's the same thing we have here with the Texans. I feel like this is a make or break year for the Texans. If the Texans somehow don't make the playoffs, injuries or not, I think Bill O'Brien may be in trouble.
If the Falcons are not winning, who the hell is going to eat Chick-fil-A at that stadium?
Well, nobody, because it's closed.
Oh, yeah. My bad.
Moving on, the last division we're going to talk about, the NFC. What's the last division we have left? The NFC West. If there was another division, we'd talk about that one too.
Fuck yeah, we would.
The NFC West last year won by the Los Angeles Rams at 13-3. The Seahawks finished second at 10-6. The Niners 4-12 and Arizona 3-13. I hate to sound like a broken record here, but this is another team that I'm excited to see, and I think will win this division handily, and that's the Rams.
The Rams.
I think there's sometimes there's a bit of a hangover from losing the Super Bowl. I feel like that's only going to fuel McVay to make this team even better. And I think Jared Goff, is a quarterback that we see him slowly. He's progressing. He's slowly getting better and better and better and better. And I think he's going to take another step forward. Not a giant step. I don't think he's going to light the world on fire. I don't think he's going to be Patrick Mahomes or Drew Brees. But I think he's going to be better than he was last year. And a quarterback that's a little bit better than last year on an offense that scored 527 points last year, man, oh man. Only good things can happen with that. And they still have Todd Gurley. Their defense is good. They've got the most impactful lineman in the business in Arnold. This team's got all the ingredients to not just win this division, but make a deep run.
Yeah, you mentioned Gurley. He's a question mark to me, man. I mean, he's a good running back, but health-wise, when running backs have knee issues like that can be kind of tricky, and he's young enough, but he's gonna get thrown out there. McVay's gonna play him, and but I don't know how healthy he's gonna be. I mean, the Rams are probably the best team in that division. They were 13-3. Maybe they'll be 12-4. 20-4 would be amazing in football.
Well, if you count the preseason,
right, exactly. Right? Yeah, you know what I meant. I mean, they should win the division. The Cardinals will finish last again, like they did last season. That's another team that I wouldn't play Kyler Murray at all the first season, because I just don't think they're gonna protect him enough, and I think he's gonna be a bust. The 49ers are a very interesting team. Jimmy G, coming back after injury. He didn't play much this preseason, and I heard on the radio, someone said, I forget who it was, otherwise I would name them, but they were like, they said they didn't agree with the Niners not playing him enough because he felt like Jimmy Garoppolo needed to take that one hit. He needed to get hit to make, to be mentally, to be
mentally prepared.
Right, to say, okay, I got hit, but you know what? I feel fine. My knees are not broken. I'm good. And
not only that, but he needs the reps. I think he needs as many live reps as possible.
Well, he may not need that many reps because he did pretty decent for them when he got traded to them and got put in as a starting quarter. I think he just needed a feel for the game. Like I think he can be a good quarterback, but sometimes with quarterbacks, it's all up here, and what happens is you start second guessing yourself, and you don't play to your abilities. And I think that is one of the things that's either going to propel the 49ers and Garoppolo, or that's going to hold them back from being contenders in that division. And even if they are, they finished 4-12. How much better could they be? They still have issues at running back. McKinnon is not healthy. He's going to be out again. Bosa, I think, is hurt on the defensive end. So how much better are they going to be? I don't see playoffs this season for them, unfortunately. They'll probably finish third again. So, even if they do improve, the improvement's not going to be enough to say, this is a team that could sneak into the wild card.
I do see some improvement for the 49ers. My problem is with the type of knee injury that Garoppolo had. It's a pretty devastating injury. You usually, the first year back from that kind of an injury, they're still not 100%. And I don't think he's going to be 100%. I think he's going to struggle a little bit. I think you'll see some improvement, and by the end of the season, I think you'll start to see the Garoppolo that we're going to see going forward. But it's going to take 3/4 of the season. So we're going to see it in the last 4 games of the season, I feel like. And that's why for the Niners, 6-10 is just about all I can hope for them. As far as the Cardinals are concerned, the Cardinals still have a ton of issues. And I don't think, I hate to say stuff like this, but I don't think Kyler Murray is the answer. I think Rosen would have been better than Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray I just don't see it, and I worry that a guy that has a baseball contract in hand, he can always walk away and go play baseball.
Yeah.
And I feel like halfway through the season he's going to realize this isn't for me. I can go play baseball, and I just don't think he's going to be the answer at quarterback. I'm not saying he's a terrible human being or anything like that. I just don't. He's not big enough. He's got great arm strength, but the way he ran the offense at Oklahoma is completely different to the NFL. I just don't see it.
I almost feel bad for Kyler Murray because he's a star. Okay, he is. I know he's not. He hasn't done anything in the NFL yet, but he's a household name. Okay, I mean he just is. We've watched him in college and the number 1 pick now. I feel bad for the guy because he gives up the baseball contract and to play football, to play quarterback, and everybody says, well, he's so small, this and that. He's dumb for giving up the baseball contract. Look, if Murray would have picked baseball over football, the media would have found something to say about the kid, why he's not good enough to play baseball, why he should have picked football instead. He's really like in a no-win situation, and on top of that, I just don't think he's going to be that good. So you got to imagine that this kid is here. He hears all this stuff. I mean, he may not read it. Someone probably tells him. It's news. It's media. People talk about it. I'm sure he listens to this stuff, or he's heard it somewhere along the lines. I feel bad for him. It's like whatever move he makes, it's not a good move. Hopefully, it works out for him. I just, unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be a good enough quarterback. The Seahawks are the only team we haven't talked about. Obviously, they've made the news this week with Clowney. That's a big move for them, man. I like the way their defense is set up.
They could be bringing that Legion of Boom back.
They could very well be.
Which is why I think that they're going to give the Rams some tough games. We'll get the pleasure of seeing them play twice this year.
Yeah.
And I think that the Seahawks will very clearly be the number 2 team in this division. And with the rest of the division being so weak, I think they're going to amass enough wins to possibly make the playoffs. They went 10-6 last year. I can see them doing the same thing again. I don't think they're good enough to topple the Rams at the top, but they're going to give them a run for their money. Certainly in head-to-head competition, those are going to be some good football games to watch. But they're very clearly the second team in this division in my book.
Very clear. Think so?
Yeah. I'm high on the Rams. I'm high on the Rams and the Saints again. Both.
Yeah.
I just think they're
Could be
fabulous football teams. All right, you want to talk about playoffs? Who makes the playoffs and who doesn't?
We could do that, or just, what?
Go straight to a conference champ.
Yeah, just pick your two teams that are going to play for the AFC and NFC championship game.
So I'm going to do it. I'm going to go through and pick who I think is going to make the playoffs, because then I need to see it in my head.
Go ahead.
New England makes the playoffs.
Okay.
The Ravens make the playoffs.
I'll write it down because I know your memories. You're old.
Yes, and the Chiefs make the playoffs, and then this is where it gets tough, right? I don't think we're going to get a wild card from the East or the North. Mm-hmm. The wild cards are going to come from the South and the West. I think it'll be the Chargers in one spot, and then the AFC
Who wins?
South. Who wins the AFC South? Right? I don't know. I'm going to go with my heart here a little bit.
Okay.
I want the Texans to win the division. We live here. I like it that when they're good. I'm going to say they make it. Okay. I'm going to say Jacksonville gets the other wild card.
Nice. Okay.
So from there, you've got, I hate to go.
Who's going to be the best team? Who's going to have the best record out of those?
I think KC will.
You think KC? Okay.
I think it's going to be KC in New England in the championship game, and I think KC will win the AFC.
Okay.
They will be the representative in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
What you got for? What do you have for the AFC?
So you think so you don't have the Chargers. Chargers. Okay.
I have the Chargers making the playoffs.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you do. So the Colts. So you're changing out the Colts. Colts made it last year.
Do I have the other same teams from last year?
I don't know who your teams were for last year.
No. Who made it last year?
This is who made it
last year.
Yeah, last year. Not your picks.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to be real crazy and take the Colts out and put the Jaguars in.
Okay.
God, that's what a waste.
Yeah, but I mean,
it is what it is.
I mean, when you look at the divisions, though, I mean, there's not very good teams.
When we get to the NFC, I'm going to pick all different.
I think the NFC is a little more.
Interesting.
Yeah. Be bold. Don't be bold. Be bold.
Be bold. What do you got for the AFC?
Man. I got New England winning the division.
The
East. I think the Bills sneak in there and make the wild card. In the North, I got Baltimore, and I feel like I'm leaving a team out. Hold on. Okay, Baltimore. I'm questioning the Steelers. Questioning the Steelers.
That's right.
In the South, I'm pretty sold on the Colts. I'm sold on the Colts just because, just the other teams just don't strike any fear in me.
Okay, I can buy that.
KC will win the West. I got Denver making the wild card.
That's it.
Oh, shit. All right, that's it.
Now, when we went through the divisions, you said Pittsburgh was
I did.
Buffalo and Pittsburgh.
Yes, I did.
So
I did.
Waiting for you to come up with more wild cards, and apparently you have.
I have. But not, almost. I held back on Pittsburgh. Something about Pittsburgh just, I don't know.
Worries you? I can see
God,
that.
and God, really, when you look at it, when we go position by position, Big Ben better than Lamar Jackson. Juju is the best wide receiver out of those, right, two teams.
Probably second best, probably third best receiver in that division.
Yeah.
behind Landry and Beckham
Okay, but we're just talking Baltimore
and AJ Green, probably 4.
and AJ Green.
But he's got to stay healthy.
Right, because he's
Along
hurt.
with Tintin,
Tintin.
his quarterback.
Oh, yeah. Running back. Connor's probably the better running back out of.
Better than Ingram?
Yeah. Maybe not by much.
I would take Ingram over Connor.
You would take Ingram?
But you're right. It's really
But it's close. It's close, I think. So, but yeah, whatever. Pittsburgh, sorry, man. Steel City.
They're out.
Bomb on me if you want to. I think KC goes to the Super Bowl.
Who do they play in the championship?
I think you didn't give me your team that they play in the
I
championship.
said Kansas City, New England, and Kansas City topples.
Kansas City and New England. I'm going to say Kansas City and
Buffalo.
Fuck, I hate to pick New England, but it's New England.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
So we both have KC going
Yeah.
to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
All right. On the NFC side, I got to do the same thing. I got to have playoff teams. So I got Philadelphia, Minnesota, New Orleans, and the Rams.
I didn't write down nothing you just said.
I got for my division winner. So I got Philadelphia,
Okay.
Minnesota,
Okay.
New Orleans,
All right.
the Rams,
All right.
and then my wild cards are going to be the Bears and the Seahawks.
Are you sure? You didn't sound too. I'll give you a second chance.
Oh man!
I'll give you another chance
because I'm really torn with the. I'm not torn
It's
with
tough.
I'm not torn so much with the Bears. I think they will make it.
Okay.
I'm really torn with the Cowboys, the Seahawks, and the Falcons.
Okay.
And
You gonna go with your heart again? Are you going to go with your heart
no,
again?
I'm going to go with the Seahawks. That defense is too tough. Too tough. And then to the Super Bowl, again, I think we're going to get New Orleans and the Rams again. I think New Orleans is going to go this time. We're going to get repeat conference championship games, but the other team's going to win this time. It's going to be New Orleans.
It's gonna be New Orleans. All right. I got the Stinky Delphia Eagles winning the East. I have the Vikings winning the North. This is gonna be a tough division. This is gonna be a good division here. The South. I gotta go. I'm gonna go Atlanta. I'm gonna go Atlanta. No repeat winner of this division. In the West, I'll stick with the Rams. And my 2 wild cards are going to be...
It gets really hard when you start thinking about wild cards.
My 2 wild cards are going to be Chicago and Dallas. Seattle's going to fall short. Just a little short.
All right. And who do you have going to the Super? Who do you have in the conference championship game and then the Super Bowl?
I think we're gonna see. This is tough, man. Shit. I gotta eliminate the Bears automatically because they don't have a kicking game. The doink doink. The doink doink.
The double doink.
How much time we got left on this podcast? I need some more time here. Shit.
You don't get more time.
This is hard, man.
We've been through every division.
This is hard.
You had all podcasts long to figure this out in your head while you were talking about nothing.
Man, I'm going to go with the Eagles and the Bears in the NFC Championship game.
Okay. And who goes to the Super Bowl?
I'm going to go Philly. I think the Eagles make it to the Super Bowl.
The Eagles are talented, man. The Eagles
I'm
are
gonna go with the Eagles.
pretty darn talented.
Who'd you pick again? Oh,
New
the
Orleans.
Saints. The Aints. All right.
And then Super Bowl champ.
I'm gonna go Chiefs. I think at the end of the day, Andy Reid is a good person. I think Andy Reid is a good coach. I think his time in Philly was great. It's a shame that he couldn't win a Super Bowl. The guy made the playoffs 9 out of 14 seasons. He's made 4 playoff appearances, 4 out of 5 seasons with the Chiefs so far. That's consistency. He brings out the best of his team. He's got a good quarterback. This is the best team he's ever had, I think. Even with the Eagles, this is the best team he's had. I think it's time for him to make the Super Bowl and go out there and win it. And having a good quarterback like Patrick Mahomes really helps. Bringing back Shady McCoy. I'm not saying he's gonna be a 2,000-yard rusher, but I think having that
familiarity.
Yeah, that word. Is gonna help the offense out even more. So I think that the Chiefs are gonna be the best team in the NFL. Chiefs over Eagles.
Funny that you're picking Andy Reid to beat his old team.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Saints. I think the Chiefs are the best team in football, pound for pound, position by position. But the best team doesn't always win. Sometimes it takes a special kind of leader to dethrone the best team in the league. And I think Drew Brees is that. And that's probably as much with my heart as it is with my head.
I hope you're not putting any money on this.
Why?
Because you never, ever bet with your heart.
Well, that's probably true, but I don't care. I'm still picking Drew Brees to win his second Super Bowl. I certainly hope he does it. Let's see. The NFL, with only 4 teams in each division, it's not uncommon for a team to go from worst to first.
Yeah.
So, last year, the 8 teams that were worst were the New York Jets, Cincinnati Bengals, Jacksonville Jaguars, Oakland Raiders, New York Giants, Detroit Lions, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Arizona Cardinals. Which one of those 8 teams do you think has the best shot of going from worst to first? I'll answer that.
You really have to look at the other teams in that division. Like, the Jets have no chance of going from first to worst. The Bengals have no chance of going from worst to first.
They have a small chance. They have a smidge of a better chance than the Jets.
If I play the lotto right now, I have a chance.
Yeah.
It ain't happening. The Raiders don't have a chance to win that division. The Giants don't. The Lions don't.
The Giants have a smidge of a chance.
The Buccaneers don't. The Jaguars are really the only team that I can see going. Because again, you have to take into consideration the other teams in that.
I think you're right. I would agree with you. The Jaguars are by far, of those 8 teams, by far the one that's got the best chance of making it from worst to first. But I would give the Bengals a small chance because, again, if Lamar Jackson goes down,
if game.
Well, but think about it, right? You look at you're right. You got to look at the competition, right?
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson goes down, the Ravens are in trouble. Big Ben goes down, which he's getting up in years. Pittsburgh's in trouble, and Pittsburgh's in trouble anyway.
Yeah.
Cleveland could be completely dysfunctional. The Bengals could sneak in there, right? If they manage to stay healthy and everything falls right for them, it could happen, right? A small chance, right? You look at the Giants. Washington, not great. The Cowboys, you never know. And the Eagles, while they're the best team, the Eagles find ways to give games away sometimes. The Giants get hot. It could happen. Dallas got hot last year when no one really expected them to, and they ended up winning the division. So I see a small chance for the Giants.
Yeah.
The Raiders, man, with Kansas City sitting at the top, it's hard to imagine that they could usurp that gap unless Mahomes went down. But even then, the Lions, they just have too many people in their way, including themselves. The Buccaneers have too many people in their way, including themselves. The Cardinals are a reclamation project. The Jets have too many things in their way. So, I think that one's a pretty easy one, Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But I could see some scenario, probably a little more so with the Giants than with the Bengals. But some small chance.
Yeah, it could be.
You never know.
Football, sports in general, right? Is it's funny sometimes how it works because, like you said earlier, the best team doesn't always win. The best player doesn't always ride off in the sunset. And that's the beauty that sports gives us fans, is that they keep us in tune, and football just happens to be king. It just is. When it comes
in terms of unpredictableness,
yeah,
football by far.
Yeah. I mean,
of the major sports, football by far.
Yeah, just so much parity. And I guess it's because it's got the no salary cap system. Because it has a salary cap system.
They've got the most stringent salary cap system. And this is the other thing. 55 guys. It's the biggest roster.
Right.
So you got to get more people rowing in the same direction to make it happen. Whereas in basketball, you only need 12. Baseball, you only need 25.
Yeah.
Only. It's still,
Now, there's been a lot of talk about the NFL and locking out.
Locking out again?
Yeah, by 2021. And
we'll worry about that when it gets here.
And so I find it kind of hand in hand how you have a lot more players holding out for contracts. And it's kind of curious to think, are these players, do they know something coming down the pipeline? Does the union know something that is saying, hey man, go out there, get your money now, hold out if you have to, play hardball with these owners. Let's take their power out of their hands and place it back into the players' hands and hold out. Get your money now because it's coming.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I really believe that.
I mean, from a player's perspective, I would always say get your money because you just never know between injuries and potential lockouts and things like that. I would always say get your money in football more than in any other sport.
Yeah, I mean, just thinking how we're just seeing so many holdouts. I mean, players are not fulfilling their contracts and they're just looking to get paid now. Which, if you sign a contract, you should play out the contract.
Hey, we had an interesting situation, now that we've talked about all the obvious stuff. We had an interesting situation a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Carly Lloyd was hanging out at Eagles camp, started kicking some field goals, and of course the video went viral of her kicking that 55-yarder. You think we'll ever see the day where we see a female kicker in the NFL?
I hope not.
Why?
I hope not. I just don't agree with co-ed sports, not at the professional level, high school level. I'm not for it. So, no, I hope we don't.
Man, if she can kick 55-yard field goals, the Bears should be breaking down that gender barrier. Lickety split.
They did.
The Bears?
The Bears signed her.
Carly Lloyd?
Didn't they sign a female kicker?
I don't think so.
Dude.
I think you've lost your marbles.
Are you sure?
No.
Hold on. Am I wrong on this?
I think so. You've lost your mind.
Are you sure?
So you're not in favor of it, but do you think we'll ever see it? You think we'll see it in the next 10 years? We'll go back to this podcast 10 years from now and see if you were... We'll
oh, dude, I could have sworn I thought...
We'll pat you on the back if you were right. We'll crucify you if you were wrong.
No, I don't think we'll ever.
In 2029. For the 2029, before the 2029 season, will we see a female kicker in the NFL?
No.
No?
Maybe, like you like to say, there's a little chance in preseason, but they won't make the roster. In preseason, maybe.
But I mean, if you have Carly Lloyd making 55-yarders,
look, man. Professional athletes have issues right now keeping their hands on themselves. Sexual allegations, no. Plus, I wouldn't want my daughter to be in a locker room full of freaking sausages and taking showers. No, I don't think it should be allowed. I don't think it should be allowed during high school, at the high school level, pee-wee level. I'm just not with it. Don't get me wrong. more power to her. If she can make a preseason team or something, that's great what she's doing. But no, keep it away from the sport.
Here's the thing. I think of a case like this, Carly Lloyd. Carly Lloyd is hitting the tail end of her soccer career.
Mm-hmm.
But she's hitting the tail end of her soccer career because she doesn't quite have the speed for a 90-minute game.
Okay.
But she still has the power to go out and kick a ball 5 or 6 times a game. So I can see a woman like Carly Lloyd, who's 30, I guess, I don't know, transitioning over to the NFL. And I think if you can kick the field goals, take her. Sign her. I bet you Bears fans would sign her in a heartbeat.
I bet you not.
I don't know that we'll ever see it. I don't know that we'll see it in the next 10 years, but I would like to.
Could you imagine?
If she's the best kicker available, why not?
Okay, she's the best kicker available. They have no. If this chick plays in a playoff game and blows the game, misses a field goal,
does a double doink,
man, fuck no. I'll be pissed off.
Well, yeah. If it's your team, of course you'd be pissed off.
Who's your NFL MVP?
Do they do MVP by conference?
No, I think they do it
just for the NFL.
For the NFL, yeah. They do like NFC and AFC offensive and defensive player of the year, but MVP is just.
I'm gonna go. I mean, MVP is gonna be it's gonna come down to Mahomes and Breeze because those guys are gonna put up some freaking ridiculous numbers.
All right, so who would win out of those two?
I'm gonna go Drew Brees just because I love Drew Brees.
Drew Brees.
I got a bromance going.
See, I think it's gonna come down to the two I mentioned earlier between Prescott and Wentz. I think they're gonna put on a show for us this year. And since I have the Eagles going to the Super Bowl, I gotta
like you gotta pick Wentz.
I gotta pick Wentz on this one, unfortunately. But I got them losing, so that makes me happy.
Over under on how many coaches get fired on Black Monday, the day after the season ends.
No coaches get fired. Everyone comes back and live in a happy world.
So your over under is half a coach.
I'm gonna say 4 coaches get
I say
fired.
8.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
I feel like this is one of those years where there's going to be people that are going to be just. People expect more from their team than they think. So, like, for example, the Texans. They don't win their division or they don't make the playoffs, O'Brien's gone. Tennessee, their coach is gone, period, I think.
I actually went through this list earlier, believe it or not.
I just feel like we're at a point where a lot of teams think they're better than they are. And they're going to start hammering some coaches if they don't. Obviously, there's only 12 teams that are going to make the playoffs. So there's going to be teams that are going to be disappointed. You know, the Redskins.
Oh, yeah.
The Falcons, if they don't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Heck, the Panthers, if they don't make the playoffs.
Here,
right?
Arizona, Cliff Kingsbury. He's not going anywhere.
No, he's not.
Falcons, Dan Quinn, possibility.
Right.
Ravens, John Harbaugh.
Not going anywhere.
Bills, Sean McDermott. He's not going anywhere.
If they tank, maybe.
Panthers, Ron Rivera.
Maybe.
Not going anywhere.
If they have a hard time. Again, Alex, Carolina is a perfect example. Carolina thinks they're a playoff team ready to make a serious run. And if they don't, who's gonna get fired?
Well, you know,
Cam Newton's not gonna get fired.
Well, no, because he's probably not playing. If they have a bad season, it's gonna be because Cam Newton is not playing, and therefore they're not gonna look. Rivera.
If that's the reason they have a bad season, yes. But if it's a bunch of no-name guys, and by no-name I mean everyone but the quarterback is hurt, well, they're gonna blame it on the coach. If it's their 2 main linebackers and their safety and a couple offensive linemen. Right? If those guys are hurt, those guys that we really don't know the names of, those guys that don't show up on the marquee, if it's those guys, then Ron Rivera takes the fall. That's the way that works.
Ron Rivera 1 Super Bowl appearance.
No, I'm not saying he deserves
Hold
it.
on,
I'm
hold
saying
on.
this is the way it works.
2 Coach of the Years, 4 playoff berths. I mean, he's 71-56 in 8 seasons with the Panthers.
8 seasons.
I don't think he goes anywhere. Bears, Matt Nagy, nowhere.
Not
Bengals, Zach Taylor, nowhere. He's brand new. Kitchens with the Browns, nowhere. Garrett has a lifetime contract with the Cowboys. He's not going anywhere. Broncos with Fangio,
He's
nowhere. Lions with Patricia, maybe.
Because they don't like him.
Yeah, no, I don't think they do.
I don't think anyone likes that guy. I don't know why.
I mean, New England got rid of him. That's a sign. Don't sign him.
So what are we up to? 4? Go back to the
We'll
top.
Quinn,
So we said Kingsbury, no. Quinn, maybe.
McDermott,
maybe.
Rivera,
maybe.
Now, Ed is saying all this. I'm not. He says 8. He says 8 coaches.
This is how I get to 8. I'm a little more liberal with the firing squad.
So if you're down to 4 with 4 teams left, whoever they are.
It's in alphabetical order. The Seahawks, gone. Fire that dude. Okay, so we're at 3.
Okay. Nagy, you said? No.
Taylor, no. Kitchens, no. Garrett, no.
Fangio.
Garrett, maybe.
You think it's time?
Well, I mean, it's
Garrett's
possible.
been there since. He's got a winning record. Believe it or not.
No, I believe it.
Wow.
Okay, so that's 4, but that's let's call it 3.5.
Okay, Fangio,
No,
Patricia,
maybe.
Packers and Matt LaFleur,
No, he's brand new.
Texans and Bill O'Brien,
Absolutely. He's
Colts
on
and
the hot seat.
Frank Reich,
No.
Jaguars and Doug Marrone. He's been there for 2 seasons.
If they
Made the playoffs once.
Yeah, so he had the good run and then the bad run. If that team continues to slide on a bad run, I could see him being gone.
Chiefs
So
and the
I'm
Kool-Aid
at
guy.
6. No.
Andy Reid, Chargers and Anthony Lynn.
I mean, they'd have to absolutely tank.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say no on that.
Okay. Rams and McVay.
No.
Dolphins and Flores.
No, he's new.
Vikings and Mike Zimmer.
Again, have to absolutely tank.
Patriots and Belichick.
That's a definite. He's on the hot seat.
That's a definite going nowhere.
Yeah.
New Orleans and Sean Payton.
Nope.
Now, does it count if he retires at the end of the season?
It depends. If I'm at 7, then yes. If I'm at 8, I don't care.
Giants and Pat Shurmur.
No. They'll
Jets and Adam Gase.
Only-
Can't get rid of the googly eyes.
Only if he kills somebody because he looks like a serial killer.
Raiders and John Gruden.
No.
10-year contract. He ain't going
Yeah,
nowhere.
he ain't going nowhere.
Eagles and Doug Peterson.
No, they love him.
Steelers and Mike Tomlin.
No. He's not.
Are you confident about that? Seriously, are you confident
I'm
about that?
confident. I'm confident on that one. I guess if the wheels completely fell off, I could see them going separate ways, but I doubt it.
Okay. San Fran and Kyle Shanahan.
Maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
He's fairly new there.
Yeah.
Yeah?
But
Okay. That could be. Seahawks and Pete Carroll.
I mean, only if they completely tank. So I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah, I believe that one could happen. Buccaneers and Bruce Arians.
No, it's his first year, right?
Yeah. Titans and Mike Vrabel.
Absolutely.
Washington and Jay Gruden.
Absolutely. So that's 10.
That's 10?
That's 10. But I've got some guys in there that it
Yeah.
would have to go completely sideways for them to get fired.
Yeah. Wow, that's a lot, man. That's quite a bit.
8. That's a lot of.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah, that is.
Shit.
But you just never know, man. You just never know.
What else in the football world? What else you got, man? I don't want this podcast to be over.
I don't have anything else. However, I am ready for some football.
I'm ready for football.
I am absolutely ready for some football.
I will make sure I get out of work early Thursday, get everything done, put the kids to sleep like at 5 o'clock, and get ready for some football.
The problem Thursday is I have a commitment at my son's school. It's Dad's birthday and opening night.
Opening night for what?
Football.
Oh. Now, what kind of commitment is this? Is this like a parent-teacher?
It's like a open
Please don't
house.
tell me he's in trouble already. This
No,
is too
he's not.
soon. Okay.
Thank
It's
God.
an open house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I may be able to skip because, I mean, if he doesn't know where his classes are by now,
Yeah,
yeah, you're failing.
yeah, that's
Not to mention, we've been in school for damn near a month.
yeah.
So if he doesn't know where to go by now,
See, I gotta make the call to the bullpen, bring in the lefty. Honey, I gotta work late. Listen, the parent teacher, the open house of parent teacher is at 5:30. You know, it's an hour. You have to be there.
Yeah.
Please make it. And then while I know, so I know it's an hour, and then I come home like around 6:15. Just early enough
to
get the pregame, but get the tail end of I couldn't make it. I just got home.
That sounds like a foolproof plan, except for the fact you just told everybody what it was.
That's okay. They can copy me. All men listening.
All the men listening.
That's
what do you
right.
call it? So who wins that first game? It's Packers Bears.
Yeah,
in Chicago.
In Chicago. I'm gonna say the Packers. No, the Bears. The Bears win.
You
it.
said the Packers.
I didn't fully say the name.
I'm
gonna say the Bears.
I'm gonna go with the Bears as well.
I'm gonna go with the Bears.
If I think they're gonna have a good season, they got to start off by winning.
I don't like when these two teams play this early. I like them to play more in November and December when it's cold. Possible chance of snow.
Exactly.
That's a good old-fashioned football game right there to me.
You know, I almost feel like football should start later in the year. Because, like, these early games in September, like, if you have to go to Miami, it's freaking hot.
Well, that's why nobody goes to their games.
Well, no,
They already
no one goes to their games because they suck. But, you know, like, it's hot. And I like games in the snow. I almost feel like they should move the season back just a couple weeks.
Just a couple weeks?
Yeah.
I obviously I like snow games, but I just want to see. I'd rather see a cold weather
cold
game, right?
Snow.
Because I'm not the one that's getting hit, so I don't care. I just want to see other teams.
Warm, nice and cozy on my couch, drinking a beer.
Exactly.
All right, man. What else you got?
Shit. I think sounds like we're done with this one.
This is our longest podcast ever.
I hope we did not bore anybody. If we did, let us know. If we did, you probably didn't get to this part of the podcast.
Yeah, I was going to say they probably turned it off by now.
Yeah,
so yeah, go ahead and give them all the info now so they can get
you gave it to them already. I don't.
Sure, reach out to us now. We dare you. We hope you're still around.
That's right.
What podcast is this?
This is 90.
This is 90. Famous number 90, real quick.
Fuck if I know. I don't know. Neil Smith? I don't have a name. Clowney.
Jadeveon Clowney.
He's the most recent one.
He's the most recent, therefore the most famous. Recency bias.
I can't
think of a good 90.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure we're missing somebody.
Yeah. Oh, well. Whatever. All right, man. Well, that's all I have. I hope you guys enjoyed our NFL 2019 preview. As always, folks, ignore the negativity. Be the positivity.
Peace.